Hi and welcome back. If this is your first time here on the channel, my name is Rachel and I blog over at thislovelylittle.farmhouse.com about all things homestead, do-it-yourself, recipes, and all the things that we are learning and doing here to try to live a more natural lifestyle and cut out, like, you know, as many of the chemicals and toxins and things as we can and live more healthy lifestyles. So today I'm going to show y'all how I make bone broth in the Instant Pot, and pretty much it's super easy. If I can do it, anyone can do it. I will tell y'all I get overwhelmed easily, so like it has to be easy and quick for me to keep up with anything on a regular basis. Like the sourdough starter that I have, it stays in the refrigerator and you just take it out, feed it, put it back in there, you know, and use it. It's not complicated. And something like this bone broth, you just dump it all in, turn it on, and in, you know, 4 hours it's ready. So that's why I like this method. There are tons of methods out there. I realize that you know, this is not any kind of earth-shattering information here. This is just how I do it, and it works really well for us, so I wanted to share it with you. So like I said, there are tons of methods out there, and you can use any kind of bone you have. I typically use beef bones because that's what I have the most of. We get our own meat butchered, and so when we are working with the butcher to tell them what kind of meat and everything, what cuts we want, I make sure and tell them that I want them to keep all the bones, and then we actually have to package it because they don't package them because they're just like a bunch of random pieces and parts. We also get soup bones, which they have on their selection that you can do, but it's very small pieces and it's just little packages. So we get them to save all of the bones, and then we bring them home in a big, you know, big bags, and we have to package them out ourselves. So if you get that opportunity, what we do, the way I like to do it, is we'll get these big 2-gallon Ziploc bags, and we put the bones in there, whatever amount you want. This is about 6.5 pounds of bones, so it's kind of a lot. You could definitely do less, but when we do it, we're processing ground meat and the bones, and it's just a lot to do, and so we kind of end up doing bigger packages just to make it go quicker. But anyway, we put them in a Ziploc bag and then wrap them in freezer paper. And I have some bones that have been in the freezer since the last calf we got, which was about a year ago, and they're still good. So that method really works well to keep them from getting freezer burnt or anything like that. And also sometimes with these, they're irregular cut and they'll have sharp points sticking out or whatever, so it helps to have that double layer. It doesn't poke through as easily. But anyway, so like I said, you can use any kind of bones. If you don't have the option to get your own bones from your own cow, you know, you can check out your local butcher shop. Grocery stores a lot of times will have bones. You know, you have to just go talk to people and see. And if none of that is an option for you, just make sure when you're buying meat, buy meat with the bone in. You know, if you're getting chicken for a recipe, instead of getting boneless, skinless chicken breast, buy a thing of chicken thighs or buy a whole chicken, because then you'll get the benefit of the bones, so you can do the meat, and then after you eat your food, save the bones, and you can use all of those bones to make broth. If it's not enough after just one meal, stick them into a freezer bag and throw them in the freezer, and then after a few meals, you'll have enough to do a whole batch of broth. So that's definitely an option. You know, if you don't have access to any other kind of bones or anything bulk like this, just save your bones and make sure you buy meat that has bones in it. Sometimes it's just a little bit of a mindset shift to, you know, convenience. You just kind of have to swap it off a little bit. Instead of getting the boneless, get the bone in. Okay, so on to making the bone broth. Like I said, this is super easy. And I think it's really weird how the Instant Pot on video, it like shows it, you know, that's really weird to me. I don't know, something to do with the frequencies. It's very strange because it doesn't do that in real life. So you, on your Instant Pot liner, have a max fill line, 2/3 full, so you definitely don't want to go over that. You can see they're just a bunch of random pieces They don't have much meat on them like soup bones would, but they work really, really great for bone broth. So I'm just gonna put all of my bones in here. Okay. And like I said, this is a lot of bones. You could definitely use just a couple of pounds. It doesn't have to be a huge amount like this. This is just how we packaged it because it gets to be such a long process when you're doing that much. All right, so get your bones in your Instant Pot and then cover them with water. You want them to be completely covered with water. And we love our Berkey for filtered water. Make sure and it gets all of the yucky stuff out. Okay, so cover them with water. They'll settle down a little bit in there as it cooks, but make sure you don't go over that max fill line. That is important. Okay, and then you put in a couple of tablespoons of vinegar. I use apple cider vinegar. You can use plain vinegar, it doesn't matter. And I don't measure it, I just do a few splashes. I do. Okay. And then put lid on. Make sure your dial, your little thingy is set to sealing. And then I use pressure cook and I do it for 4 hours. You want to make sure it's on high pressure and normal. You can do it to, like if you keep pushing it, it'll go through different settings and it'll go to more, but it's on low pressure. So I want it to be on high pressure, normal. And it'll go for 4 hours. It's gonna beep in just a second here to say it's going. And then, there it goes. Okay, so now it's gonna go for 4 hours. And then you can see the keep warm is lit up. So as soon as it's finished, it'll just go to staying warm, which is great. So then what I do after that is I take this out and I let it cool a little bit and I drain the broth that I've made and then I fill it back up with water and I'll do it for another 4 hours. Because I have so many bones in there, I run it twice like that with fresh water. The first batch will be like super congealed from all that gelatin, all the collagen and stuff that it pulls out of those bones. The second batch won't be super jelly, but it is thicker than water. So I know that it's still pulling some nutrients out even though it's not as much. So then I'll just mix the batches like to can or something like that afterwards. But I like doing it like this. I like getting the most bang for my buck. So I feel like if I only ran it once, I would be kind of wasting part of it. That's why I like to do it twice. Now I'm sure I could divide the bones and not do so many at a time and it would pull more of it out, or just run it for multiple times with the same water. But that's how I do it and I feel like it works really well. And with the stay warm function, a lot of times I will set it up going at night and then I don't have to worry about it. It'll go off in the middle of the night and keep it warm till in the morning when I can come deal with it. So that's something that's really handy about the Instant Pot. And if you don't have an Instant Pot, you can definitely make bone broth without it. I mean, it's how people have done it for years and years and years. I just like the convenience and the quickness and the hands off of doing an Instant Pot. But if you don't have one, you just get a big stock pot, put your bones in it, cover them with water. You know, you can add things in like onions and garlic and carrots and whatever. It'll be more like stock than broth, and especially if you want to have a little more flavor, you could do more add-ins. I've seen people where they'll roast the bones before to give them a really nice flavor. But yeah, so if you're just cooking it and you don't have an Instant Pot and you still want to make bone broth, just cover your bones with water in a stock pot, put them on the stove and simmer them. Not looking for a rolling boil here, just simmering. But you want to simmer them for a really long time. Most people do like 18 to 24 hours, which I think that would kind of make me a little uncomfortable leaving my stove on, like if I had to leave the house or at night when I'm sleeping. I like the Instant Pot. I feel like it's safer and quicker and easier. But that's my preference. You could definitely do it without one. It works fine, and it's how people have done it for years. So this is gonna go for 4 hours. That's gonna end up being pretty late, so I will change it out tonight before I go to bed and put fresh water in, and then I'll show y'all tomorrow the difference in what the first batch and the second batch look like. And then watch for the next video if you're interested in preserving your bone broth, because we don't drink it this quickly. I mainly give it to my 2-year-old because she was a C-section baby, and I know that her gut is not how it should be because she has some dairy intolerances that from the little research that I've done, I think that it's the leaky gut thing and a lack of the good gut bacteria that she should have had that babies get during a normal birth. So we have been doing bone broth consistently for her, and I really actually think it's made a difference. But so I don't need it to be, you know, super flavorful for just drinking straight, because that's not what we're doing here. But I totally forgot where I was going with this. But yeah, and so some of the health benefits, if you're completely new to bone broth, it is loaded with good minerals like calcium, potassium, magnesium, and things like vitamin K, vitamin A, vitamin K2, collagen, gelatin. There's kind of a little, like, collagen turns into gelatin as you cook it. But anyway, good stuff. The gelatin, like, it coats your digestive tract, and that's one reason it's super healing and helps with leaky gut and all kinds of digestive tract problems. If you have any of that stuff, look it up, and I also put a link in the description below to a article you can go read about all the health benefits of bone broth. And one of the major things is helping the gut. That's a reason that a lot of people start making and drinking bone broth, is because of that. And it also just has a lot of nutrients that in general we probably don't get enough of. So regardless of whether you have gut problems or not, I would be willing to venture that you would benefit from drinking bone broth. And I do enjoy a cup of it every once in a while. I season it up and just drink it straight, and it's really quite tasty. Be sure and look in the description box below. You can go over to my blog, and I'll also put a link to the pin on Pinterest. So if you want to save this recipe for later, go pin it to your favorite Instant Pot board, or, you know, healthy, or whatever kind of board you have. Go pin it over there. I really appreciate when you share. It helps me so much. And also like and comment and subscribe. All those things are so important for people who are trying to grow a YouTube channel and stuff, because it helps with all the crazy algorithms and all that stuff. Confusing, crazy, but just take my word for it. It is so helpful, and I, as a YouTube creator, appreciate it so much when you share and comment and subscribe and all those things. So be back tomorrow to show you what it comes out looking like. Okay, day 2, we're back, and I'm going to show you what we have from both of the batches of bone broth that I made. Now, of course, you can do this all in one day. There's enough time. You just have to put it on pretty early in the morning. I didn't get mine going that early. So I took this one out. This is the first batch. I took it out really late last night, and I did a quick pressure release. It had been finished for about 30 minutes, and I did the quick pressure release. I would not recommend it because it spewed broth and fat all over the kitchen, on the cabinets, counter, the floor, everywhere. So I wouldn't recommend doing a quick pressure release if your Instant Pot is to the fill line. It made a big mess. I usually do it, like if it's late at night, I will just leave it until in the morning. It's had time to depressure and all of that, but I was trying to get my second batch in last night, so it was a mess. But I'm going to show y'all what we have. This is what it looks like. Or this is probably not going to stay. This is what it looks like when I pull it out of the refrigerator. It's got a big, thick layer of fat on the top. So I'm going to just pull that out. And it's got a lot of broth stuck to the bottom of it. So you can see the texture of the broth. It's like Jello. It's very, very, very gelatinous from all the gelatin, collagen, and everything that is pulled out of those bones. So that's another reason I like to strain it afterwards and stick it in the refrigerator, because then you get all the fat off. Okay, so this is the first batch, and it is very, very jello. It is extremely, extremely gelatinous. I don't know if you can see it in here, it just tickles. So that's the first batch, and that's generally what it looks like. It always kind of has the same texture, same consistency. And my second batch is usually not as jello-y. It usually is pretty liquid, but we'll see how this one is. And it normally doesn't have this much fat on it. So obviously my bones this time had a lot more fat than normal, which is fine. Like I said, you're taking it all off, so it doesn't really matter, but just an observation. Okay, and so as you can see, the second batch, it's not very thick. It is a little thicker than water, but I know that it still does have some good nutrients in it, because when you take the bones out from the first batch, all the marrow and everything is still in there, and they're still relatively hard. But when you take out the second batch, most of the marrow has come out, and the bones will just like break. You can break them in your hand. I should pull one out to show you. I'll be right back. These are a couple of the bones that were in there, and as you can see, they're super soft when you're done with them. So it just cooks, I feel like it cooks all the good nutrition out of them, and I'm not wasting any of my healthy, good bone broth. And then for the batches, I will just mix them together and then can them like that, mixed together, or freeze, whatever you prefer to do. But then I know that I've gotten all of the good nutrients out of the bones, all the, well, we talked about it earlier, so I'm not gonna repeat it. But yeah, so that is how I do bone broth. It's super easy. It does take a while, but it's not hands-on time, so it's definitely something, if I can manage it, pretty much anybody can manage it, because I don't do well with adding so many things into my day, but this is a really easy thing to do that packs a lot of nutritional benefit. So hope you learned something and that this is something you'll try. It's really easy. If you have any questions, you can leave them in the comments below, and I'll do my best to answer. I'm far from an expert on bone broth, but it is something that we do regularly, and I actually think I've seen a lot of improvement in my 2-year-old since we started it. Again, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate anybody who subscribes and comments and all those things. It means a whole lot to me. So thank you so much, and have a great day. Box, you know. Because in 4 hours it'll be getting sometimes it's just a little bit of a mind shift. You don't want to, like, you don't want to have a rolling boil going